Ability Club. Welcome to Rising Tide Live. I'm your host, Sean Walchef. This is a Cali BBQ Media production. We are live streaming on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. Thank you for joining. We want you to be a part of this conversation. Today, we're talking about accountability in business, accountability in your personal life. And we have one of our Rising Tide leaders, Jason Berkowitz, who has started the official Accountability Club, to bring him on to talk about accountability in his life, why he launched the club, and more importantly, how it can help you. Every single Wednesday, every single Friday, we meet on this platform, which is, like I said, live streaming at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. London time. Thank you to all the incredible hosts that hosted last week while I was at Google in New York City. We had some of our Rising Tide community that was there in person. We're going to share some of those secrets that we learned at Google. But more importantly, let's get to the show. We'll get to the community. If you guys are waiting in the green room, we will bring you up very soon. But I want to bring Jason Berkowitz up onto the stage to lay it down. Jason, who are you? What do you believe? And why are we starting an accountability club in this community?
My name is Jason Berkowitz, and I'm excited to be here in this club that we've been rocking and rolling for a few years now, that we've been accountable to each other. I am a longtime restaurant operator and partner, and the founder of Arrow Up Training. And what we do is we help restaurants build stronger employee experiences so that they can deliver stronger guest experiences. And that really goes to my why and what I genuinely believe, which is that we can have our expectations, but we need to set people up for success to help them be stronger so that then they can pass it on. And that's what I love doing.
Accountability Club, you launched. We're live.
All
You
right.
held yourself accountable.
I held myself accountable because I've been talking about this for a while, and that's the joke, and that's the disarming, and that's the beauty of it all, right? I had been talking about it, and then our co-Rising Tide community member Matt Wampler was like, "Do you need me to be your accountability club pot buddy to launch the accountability club?" I'm like, "Man, I do. I
I do.
literally need an accountability buddy to launch the accountability club."
Amazing. Shout out, Matt.
Shout out Matt, and we'll get into that in a second of how we structured it. But I'm gonna start with a quote that I like, and almost I would say the godfather, the guru of where we're going to drive this will come from James Clear, who will be a guest at one point.
Amazing.
But because one of his books that he wrote is Atomic Habits, and I love that book because I love how it breaks ideas down into achievable actions, right? And so here's his quote: "Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become." And I love that because that empowers us in every single action to then add a plus vote, right?
Yep.
Let's forget what even happened a second ago. Let's absolutely, focus on the steps that we're taking to become the person. And this takes me back to my years in of studying psychology, and that was my degree in love. And there was a period of time I wasn't going to be Rabbi Berkowitz, as you call, but it all comes with it, right? Right. Um,
I
uh,
like Rabbi Berkowitz,
Therapist Berkowitz,
therapist Berkowitz.
and I realized the problem with that is I can't sit and listen to people complain, and that's a piece of therapy. I'm about, okay, so what's next? What are you doing? What's the action? But the topic is the idea between your ideal self and your real self. And the ideal self is the person that we think we are and we want to be, right? I'm so smooth until I knock the glass over. So the uh, the ideal self thinks I'm that smooth. The real self understands that I'm probably going to keep China away from me. Well, okay, how do you blend those two together? And part of it is accepting what we can't become in the ideal self so that we can focus on what we can become in the real self. So Am I doing tools to be mindful when I walk into a room? Am I paying attention to things? Am I working on meditation or breathing exercises, which gives me this focus when I need to do it? So part is accepting, I said to my uh, husband when we originally met and started to move in together before when we were dating, listen, I think you need to know that everything I own is nicked, dinged, dent, scratched, even me, everything, everything. But
That's a
not,
quote. No,
yeah,
that's a
that's
good
it.
quote.
And it's not going to change, but I'm going to work on it. So the things that matter to you, I'm going to try to be more mindful of it and to be stronger. Um, and so that comes down to the accountability club, the practice, how we can move to become more of the real self and the ideal self. And to me, it comes down to hitting singles. And this is
Yep.
a really, really big point, right? Don't swing for the fences. We got the Babe Ruths, we got people, we love the point and go, and there's those examples that it works. But let's look at it like Moneyball, which is the great story of the A's when they really focused on, Billy Beane really focused on the metrics of just getting on first base and how it moved along.
Yep.
And so we're building a community in the club where we can all set up what our singles look like and ask for advice and help like we do here.
Yep.
And then have an accountability buddy if we need. Now, one other quick thing, and I'm going to turn it back to you. Matt Wampler, back to him, when we were talking about the accountability club and he was holding me accountable. One of the things that was keeping me from launching this was it needed to be so organized and so together. And you should see all my Google sheets as far as like, here's my checklist and here's the app. Oh, and can Google actually? So I already had an app that had subscribers and all. No, man, just launch.
Yeah.
And Matt was like, what are you doing? Just get it going. Also, we don't need a scorecard.
Yeah.
And so here's the interesting thing about community is unless you talk about it and present it and start to do it, you don't know what's attracting people. I was ready for the scorecard. Matt, my husband, a couple of people were like, we don't want a scorecard. Just let's show up. Let's keep this light. Let's have a light lift.
Yep.
Let's just get going. Let's hit some singles. Let's lower the bar so we feel like winners. And then we can rise up to greater things. And the club is 3 pieces. Come join us every Monday, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, 1:30 Eastern, for a 15-minute check-in call. Then you're going to get a little newsletter. And then if you'd like, we'll put you with an accountability buddy to have a quick check-in. Really light. Sean, thanks for joining us
Amazing.
this first past Monday.
Well, I unfortunately couldn't start at the start of the accountability club, but I joined just in time to hear Jason Berkowitz's mother give this beautiful how proud she is of you and what you've done. And I mean, to be honest with you, that's why we do these shows. We do these shows, this Rising Tide community, this digital hospitality community. We all work really hard. We all have big hopes, big dreams, but we're also human, to your point. Like, I'm flawed and I'm trying to figure out how to work better as a husband. I'm trying to work better as a father. I'm trying to work better as a teammate. I'm trying to work better for our barbecue business. I'm also trying to work better in our media business. How do we do better work for our clients? How do we do deeper work? And like, for me, speaking it out loud is powerful to be vulnerable, which is why, I love this community, is that we started on Clubhouse, we went on LinkedIn Live, and now it's different. We're live streaming. There's people in the green room waiting to come up on stage, and we're trying to break Riverside and get as many people on stage to contribute to the conversation, because when we hear somebody else talk about something that they're working on or that they want to be accountable to, like, it unlocks something in what we're trying to do as well. And like, I'll share, I was in Toast Customer Advisory Board yesterday. So 2 days of virtual meeting. I've been on the Toast cab for 3 years, but they asked, what was your intention for this year? And my intention is to be more intentional. I'm always weirdly available. Right. So I'm weirdly available for that meeting. I'm weirdly available for that opportunity, but like, I'm trying to prioritize, and I want to hold myself accountable for doing deeper work. Like, I want to do deeper work for the work that we're doing for ourselves, the work that we're doing for our clients. And that means that I have to do better at saying, unfortunately, it's a no at this time. It's not a no forever. It's just a no at this time. And I need to say that more. And that's why I'm holding myself accountable right here, right now.
I think it's great. And to be available to one, you're unavailable to another.
Yes.
And at that point it becomes the expectation, right? And delivering on the expectation of, if you set you're weirdly available to everybody, then you set yourself up in an expectation that's hard to, to
Correct.
follow through. And to that person that you haven't agreed your time to yet, you're not letting them down. To that person that you've agreed to be available to them, to go deep for what matters to them and matters to you, that you've agreed upon this, then by not being available to that, then you've said no to something that they expected a yes on.
Yep.
And so that's powerful, because that's communicating your expectation. Communication is my business love language. Mercedes, I posted that, I think, on her post today about communication in LinkedIn. And so that's incredible. Now, what I would say is, let's break that down, though. That's a big thing
Yep.
to say. So what would be this coming Monday, right? What's that thing that we have it marked down in a little slot,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get to say whether or not you're able to achieve it. And there's two ways that we're approaching this. One is, and we're looking for feedback, but as now, right, just get started. Done is better than perfect. One professional and one personal. For instance, I've got somebody who said they needed to focus more on spending 30 minutes a week to creative brainstorm. No matter what, they've got to set the clock, the timer, they've scheduled it, creative brainstorm their business, was their
Mm-hmm.
professional. The other one was spend 5 minutes a night with each kid before bed separately, so that they could spend time. So
Cool.
going back to your thing of going in deep work,
Yep.
what would be that one specific professional thing? You time blocked an hour on Monday. What is that one that we can hold you accountable to or help you achieve?
I think for me personally, it just comes up with just the word no. Like, how can I politely say no more often? Of understanding that, like, that thing that I'm saying yes to, I don't need to say yes to. How can I stack no's? Because by stacking no's, I'm actually stacking yeses. And I'm focusing my time more on the things that matter.
So on Monday,
Because I'm not a
you'll be
no
able
man. I'm a
to.
yes man.
Sure. Yeah. But a no, but a no is strengthening the yes
Correct.
in certain instances. So maybe what there will be that I will look for from you, that's going to be marked down in your cell in Google Sheet, is says, give us an example of
Yep.
where you did not, where you said no to something, basically,
That I would have said yes to in the past.
that you would have said yes to in the past.
Yeah.
And there's just one thing that we're looking for, and that's it. And that's
Yep.
your single, right? That's what we're looking for. Is there anyone on the personal one? I mean, you're an incredible family man. So
I think on the personal one, it's getting back to working out, to sweating. I walk, so I do a sunrise gratitude walk 5 days a week. But I want to get back to actually getting on the Peloton and running as well. So 3 days a week is my goal. That's something that I want to hold myself accountable to.
okay. So are you comfortable saying, not this Monday? Well, it's Wednesday. So yeah, let's go by this Monday.
Yeah.
That you'll be able to say that you had one workout session
Oh, for sure.
on the Peloton.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
Done.
That's it.
Well, let's bring up the community and get some more actions out into the world.
Now, one other thing is, we love for you to sign up, everybody. And so you just go to accountabilityclub.co and you'll sign up, and we'll give you the call in and send an email, and we're going to keep it light.
Amazing. Well, let's quickly get some feedback. Let's get a conversation going. Jason, you run point. This is your show. You're accountable. You ask the questions, pass the baton. Thank you guys for joining. Thanks for hanging. If you're not speaking, please mute your camera or mute your microphone. There you go. Go for it.
Does anyone else see two Richards?
I see one Richard.
Oh yeah.
All right, I got two Richards on my screen, but I'll take two Richards is better than none. So there you go. Welcome. There it is. There it is.
You're
Good, good,
fixed.
good. Yeah, double mint. All right, everybody. Hopefully, we've inspired. So we're going to go around the room, as most of you have been a part of this before. What we do is we take 60 seconds, and you're going to just introduce yourself, tell us who you are. Adding to this one, tell us what you believe in, but tell us what is something that would be your professional and personal goal that you would love to have an accountability buddy, or if there's anything else to contribute. We're looking for it because we're learning. Chris, I got you at the top. I've enjoyed every time hearing you speak. I blocked the room out, so I want to hear, and I'd love for you to kick this off for us. We got you on mute still. Riverside will get you. There it is.
Okay, I think we fixed that. Thanks so much. Good to see everybody's faces. Hello, hello. I'm Chris Tripoli, principal with the Restaurant Clinic, small leadership and advisory service for growing restaurant companies. I contribute to restaurantowner.com, as I have been for a long time, creating content for them. And I host a podcast called Corner Booth. I have a basic belief about hospitality as it concerns our current challenge, or I guess our current customer. I think the challenge facing hospitality today, and my belief is that we can master it, is the careful balance between delivering the convenience that today's consumer demands and still provide the personal service that they deserve. And so that's my core belief. I think what I would probably like most for a professional, I guess, accountability is the follow-up and structuring to continue proper mentorship. I enjoy doing that, and I have a couple people in particular that I think enjoy that service that I can provide them. And they have both reached out requesting that continues through this year. And I think maybe I could probably use maybe some reinforcement and some direction in order to make sure that I am providing them, with that kind of behavior and timeline and development and whatnot in the best way. I think sometimes teachers need teaching. So there's me.
I think it's great. Is there an accountability buddy that you know of, that you respect their feedback of this to keep you on track? And do you see something that you can offer in return?
First part of that question is a little tough. I lost him. I've had a really good, long relationship with a gentleman who was my mentor. Lost him not too long ago to cancer. And no, he's not been replaced. So I think that's an emptiness, quite frankly. He was my sort of, he was my direction. I leaned on him tremendously when I started my first consulting company, and he helped me a lot. But anyway, no, Vern Stewart's no longer, with us. So that first part is no, really, there's probably people out there, of course, that are wonderfully capable, and maybe I know them, but not well enough, I think, to fit and play that role.
Would you be open to you and I at least having a conversation, seeing how we vibe, and we'll just hop on a little call and see what we can learn from each other?
Thank you for offering. Yes, I'd like that very much.
All right, let's do that. That's great.
Hey-
I mean, again, I've loved what you've said, and I look forward to learning together.
Chris, thank you for sharing that. That was powerful. Jason, would you mind introducing the new community members so they get a chance to? We're always trying to get new people to join the show, and we have two new community members. Is that cool, Jason?
Yeah, it's fantastic. So, Chris, absolutely, thank you for kicking that off. Travis, I mean, you are a myth and a legend in that
Gosh.
world. right? I mean, the power of pulling the catering out of the barbecue and all that is, and making sure the smoke travels and delivering it. And, you know, single tree doesn't mean you have a single person. You have all these branches that support it, and roots and foundations. So thank you for joining us. One of the foundations and roots of one of my favorite meals I've had in Community Builders. Let us know who you are, what your role is there, and is there something personal that drives you, a belief, as we like to talk about? And then following that, if you'd like, tell us what would be a great goal, an accountability goal, professional and or personal, through to next week.
Okay, yeah, my name's Travis Miles. I am the catering manager for Single Tree Barbecue. I started this venture with Charlie on the first of the year, so it's fairly new to me. So every day I'm out meeting new people, learning about the job, and I've enjoyed it a lot so far. A belief I have, I find myself always in a position to where helping other people really makes me feel good. So I can go out and I can do things for myself. Yeah, cool, fun, whatever. But to see a smile on somebody's face when they try our food and just get that initial reaction has been something that's really cool to experience. So just continuing to build on that and help, as many people within our community that I can. As far as accountability, I too, like Sean, last year I was pretty good about getting out there, walking, running, exercising, and that kind of fell off as the holidays rolled back around. So personally, I would, at least 4 days a week, try to get out there and do something physical, whether it be a nice jog or walk, something like that. And professional. Charlie really does a good job of keeping me in line, so that's been something that's been good. But if probably social media is something that I really need to work on. I typically am just a casual scroller. I don't really post anything. If I do, it's somebody else's post that I just share. So committing to maybe not one every day, but we'll start with 3 a week. 3 original social media posts a week.
First, thank you. First off, you're in such a great home, because with the idea of being able to feed and help people, one of my favorite lines of any company is from Single Tree that Charlie's been saying is building community through the perfect plate of barbecue. And, I don't know if I've heard him say it for a while and you just rolled off, I think, word for word, because I love it so much and I know what that means. You're nourishing them. You're giving a point where people can come together and communicate. It's one of the reasons we love the restaurant industry so much. I would say by next week, if you can, right? And I know it's cold outside, but you're in the barbecue business. One, if it's walking, I just need one. And go for 3, but I just need to see one post that was original. Now, Sean might get mad and say, no, 3. I'm going to say it in my way. Get us one. One you can do. 3's a lot. A lot gets in the way of 3.
One today, Travis.
One today.
One
Got
today.
it.
The problem with pushing it off is that it's all we do is push it off.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable today. It'll be uncomfortable tomorrow. Do one today.
It's so true.
And then you get it off the list.
I've got a delivery. Charlie and I've got to do it like 1:00 this morning. So that'd probably be a good opportunity to take a short video or something that says, hey, just because our hours are, what they are, it doesn't mean that we don't go beyond that. Yep. So we'll cook something up there.
See what you did there. I like it. Thank you. Bill, great to see you. Welcome. Take 60 seconds if you can and, introduce yourself. Tell us something you believe in. And then if you'd like to throw a goal out on the table, 1 or 2, professional and personal, we'd love to have it.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Jason. Thanks, Sean. Hey, everybody. I'm Bill Wanick, and I'm a 17-year executive creative director and copywriter in advertising, and kind of transitioning all that over now into teaching branding to business owners, because we live in this awesome time right now when we have so much available to us that it's the best time in the history of the world to start your own brand. I don't care if it's a cupcake company or shoelaces. Like, all the tools are there. You just have to learn how to create ideas and creative concept. So I think my biggest belief, that I used to always say, it was, never over egg the omelet, right? And that means, have discernment, like know when enough is enough. It's so easy for us when we get excited to try to be prolific and do too much, right? When prolific actually just means you did a lot of work. It doesn't mean it was good work. So learning how to self-edit and just really use your discernment was my biggest belief. But now, as being sober for, I think, 7 years, authenticity gives authority, is my belief, right? Like, authenticity can be a buzzword, but when you've lived through something, you should use what you've lived through to help others, right? So, like, if you're thinking about quitting drinking and you come up to me and ask my advice, you're going to heed what I say because I've been through it, right? But if you ask some 10-year-old on the street and he gives you some advice, there's no authority there, right? So I think that that's my biggest thing I believe in, is that authenticity gives you authority. My goal right now, I've been pretty good at keeping myself accountable through my projects that I've been working on. But when I decided to make my class, I decided to do nothing but that. I had just enough going with my freelance jobs to keep the lights on. So I'm like, I'm going to stop and work on this class for X amount of hours a day and do nothing else, right? Like, because you want to also, like, I have an apparel company on the side, so you want to work on shirts. No, the shirts couldn't stay. Work on this, work on this, work on this. I've got the class made now. Now I'm having trouble deciding what to focus on, right? Like, so I'm back into the world of, like, okay, where do I put these chunks of time, right? Do I stay obsessed with the class, or do I go back to working on the t-shirts, or that? I'm a little bit in limbo as where to look for that right now, and then also trying to find new work in advertising. So I guess my goal would be trying to, like, where do I focus all that concentration that I've built up, right? That dedication right now. So I guess that's kind of my goal.
Which would be the problem that, if you put your attention to, that you could solve it first if you work backwards, right? And a lot of it is financial, right? We got to make sure we keep the lights on. So maybe if one leads to that, maybe there's an idea, there's a problem because it lives there rent free, and you have to either crush it or kill it, or build it up. What's the first problem that one of those that will help make that decision of what you work on?
Well, I think the first problem is, now I have a freelance job ending, right? And I think the first thing, the problem to solve, is the financial stuff. But you can burn an entire day chasing after just that, right? So you get this feeling of, like, well, yeah, I just did 25 job applications, but I also kind of didn't do anything, right? You get that, you know what I'm saying? That feeling of, like, you're just kind of casting out lines, so you don't know if they're biting. So there, you can have that feeling of not accomplishing.
Yeah,
So I guess that's,
absolutely. And then momentum begets momentum, right? And so then you start to get inside
Mhm.
your head, and you start to get inside of that. So it sounds like you need to balance. What I'm hearing is, it could be good to balance that with mini wins, so that you're feeling the momentum. Troy's a fan of time blocking, which I love, and I'm trying to get better at. What about deep work time blocks? And so you set the day, you knew that you were working on resumes, this, that, but then let's say from 2 to 3, no matter what, you got into or 3:30, time blocking an hour and a half increments seem to be really good, the 90 minutes. What if you brought something in one of these other projects? Is there something you could accomplish that helps?
I think absolutely, yeah, because then that's always the backup, right? At the end of the day, you didn't get X, Y, and Z. Like, I like to contact 5 people I don't know every day, right? So you don't get that done. So I think that's a really good idea. I just gotta, and again, accountability. It's just sticking to them. Like, all right, I don't care if this new job just popped up over here. I need to stop right now and move over to this. That's really good counsel. I think
Uh,
that's a good idea. I think I'm going to
yeah,
try that.
that's great. So so if all of you are comfortable when you're done, I'd love for you to email. I've got multiple addresses, but just for this to keep it in the community, jason@accountabilityclub.co. Email me what your professional and personal, the little one is, and I'll check in and ask you next week. Right. And so it'll also help you simplify it. So Bill, right? I'm going to time block from 2 to 3:30, whatever it is, and I'm going to call 5 people, like very specifically what is achievable. It could be small. This isn't the time of working out to flex and go beyond your means so that your muscles grow. This is time to lower the bar and hit singles so that you keep the momentum and you will build off of it. So shrink it even a little bit and then send it over. And let's see how that one goes.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Erman, am I hopefully saying it correctly? And I mean, kids menu. I spoke with Chrissy. You got a great team. You've got such a cool concept that has so much potential to grow. Take 60 seconds. Tell us, or take the time now. Just tell us who you are, what you're working on, what you believe, and give us something that to be held accountable to that you feel comfortable with.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm glad I was able to join back again. I'm Herman. I just launched a platform online for restaurants and hospitality um, establishments to be able to easily print kids' placemats. Um, and it's like really super easy. And we're trying to change a bit on how everybody thinks about what having those and properly having those could mean for their business. And hopefully we're here to move the needle for those places and move the needle on the experience level for kids. So that's just a little bit about me. um, I wanted to touch base on something that relates to some things that everybody has been talking about. One is there's a book called The Way of Integrity by Martha Beck, and that book is a book that is this doctor that went on around the world with people of all different cultures and statuses, financial statuses, everything, and it talks and it asks the question of what really makes humans happy. Um, and not to be a spoiler or anything, but The Way of Integrity talks about that uh, integration between the human and the values that you have inside versus how you're living. So that really goes in this thing that we're talking, right? And I think that starting with accountability is about really finding out what you really are and who you really want to be, because if you don't have that clear, it's very hard to really pinpoint that accountability and make it be worth something. So that's one thing I wanted to say and share for everybody to read it. The other part, and it goes a little bit to um, what uh, what hold on, what Bill was saying now about kind of doing things that seem like you didn't do anything. And I'm a believer in yoga, and I believe in yoga because yoga teaches you that everything you do in life is a process, and it's not about getting to a place. It's about putting the steps that requires that process to take, showing up, do the one time a week peloton, eventually your body will ask for two. Do without you reaching out to those people, Bill, you couldn't get the business at the end of it. So trust the process and go at sending those 5 things in the best way you can, so you know that you put that thing that will get you to the process. So I just wanted to quickly touch base on that. I don't know how much time I have left, but 2 things I'm wanting to make myself accountable for. One seems very easy, but they're both really hard. In a personal level, and I don't know how to translate this to anything else, but I just want to love better. I want to love better. I want to love my kids better. I want to love my wife better. I want to love everybody that comes around my life better. I don't really know what that means, but I'm in the search of loving better. Take it or leave it. That's a shitty answer for a homework, but that's my answer.
Well, let me ask you this question. Do you say you want to love better, or does this mean, just so I understand, or is it, do they want to feel loved more, those people?
I don't know what it is, but it's gotta start here, because I can't expect nothing from that. So what can I do so they feel more loved, or what can I do to fulfill other expectations, or what can I do so they also love me better in return, or not better, but in a way that I can also feel it more. I don't know.
I love that, and my thoughts are, right, in a constructive sense. I love the idea of the love language. I mean, I've only learned it recently, but we all have a way of expressing how we love someone. Sometimes we need to adjust to understand what they love. So if your wife, like I know in my relationships, communication is the love language. So literally I can run to the store to get milk and come right back. And to me, it's ridiculous to say I'm coming home, but I know that means something to him. So it's not ridiculous. It's magical and it's meaningful. And so he feels more loved because I'm then communicating better. For myself, it's acts of service. I want him to come home and know that the dishes are put away and things look good. So very, very specifically, take the core nucleus of your family, start there, figure out what is that one thing that you know that they respond to, communication, acts of service, something. How can you do that one thing while also being true to what is your way of showing it, and how do you feel you're doing that one thing for each one of those people, just your kids and your wife, is very specifically and strategically what I would put on the accountability. Did I write down what my kids' thing was? Write down exactly. John likes this most. How do I find a way of showing this weekly? Did I do that one thing weekly for John? How do I show my love in a way that gives me fulfilling? Because it's about both. Did I do my thing for John that I feel shows the way that I show love? That is how I would break that down into singles.
Beautiful. I appreciate that. And I will do so. I live with different kids of different ages and all of that, so I have my work cut out for me, but it's good advice moving forward.
Just write it down this week. Your only thing till next week is their name, what you like that you're going to show, what they like that would help them. That's it. That's all I want to see, is just the name and what's the thing that you think you can do.
All right. That's
great.
Good. Good. In terms of the professional, and I'll just be quick, networking, I'm a creator at heart, and I spend a lot of time in my own head, in my own psyche, turning things around. And I'm not really, even though intrinsically I feel like the world could benefit of me being in it and what I could do for it, I have a hard time defining, like, okay, this is something that people would want to care about or hear about, that I may have to say, because there's so many people that are much more qualified at the different things, and so I'm having a hard time understanding networking, and the only thing that I do come up with, that I so much made it like this sentence, is that networking should be about company and not the companies. That's the one sentence that it's about the people that you meet, and not whatever. It's just show up with your true self, give what you can, make sure that everybody knows why you're here, and be ready to reciprocate. So I think I'm coming in with the right heart, but I'm having a hard time posting online and replying to everybody's comments. Believe me, guys, I want to support everybody here, give you a like, read all your things, but you are all media people that are putting up 17 pieces of, and I'm managing 2 companies and I'm having a hard time. So there, but I'm trying. So cope with me, and I don't know.
Well, I think showing up here, right? And is this. So that is an incredible networking thing. We want to see you if you can make it Wednesday and or a Friday. Like you've shown up is great networking. And we will, and then while you're networking, you could pop on a comment or two. Thank you for sharing. Elizabeth Doss, it's not only great having you, but you are busting out these comments in the chats and stuff while sitting there in the passenger seat. Take it away.
Yeah, exactly. So James and I are on the road. We're in Kentucky at a rest stop. There's little statues of horses everywhere. Anyway, my name's Elizabeth Doss. I'm a social media consultant, but I specialize in the area of social media engagement in animated GIFs and how brands are using those to leverage conversations, to build community, and increase engagement. And when I was thinking about your topic today, Jason, one of the things I was thinking about some of like the big accountability moments in my life, but it's more about the accountability that I was holding for someone anyway. And so, but I will get to my own stuff here in just a second. But I went to a small college here in Kentucky, actually, Asbury University. And my senior year, I was an RA, resident assistant, and on my hall 25 of the 30 girls that I was in charge of were freshmen in college. This was their first time away from home. So there was the homesickness, there was the balancing the school and the fun and all the things. But on top of that, at our school we had a list of standards that at the time, I guess they were pretty strict. But we had these standards that we had to sign a contract that we agreed with. And I remember one of the girls on my hall, her dad was actually the pastor of the college, and she did not want to be there, but she got a free ride. So you know what I mean? But I grew up as a PK too, pastor's kid too. So I totally understood that part of where she was coming from. But I remember sitting down with her and saying, you've broken a couple of these things that I know don't seem like they matter and they don't seem like a big deal, but you signed a contract when you joined this organization, and I'm holding you to that standard that you agreed to when you agreed to come here. And I said, so it's not me just trying to come after you, but I just need you to help me out on this, and because you agreed to it, and I'm just trying to keep you, and with your agreement. And so it's that idea of what is the standard, and then keeping people accountable to it. Now I know this is a different conversation, and I know that's not that, but I was thinking about the goals side of things, because for myself, I'm so glad you brought up Atomic Habits, because I've been thinking about this idea of reverse engineering the goals that we're having, because for myself, I have several specific things that I know I'm going to get done and do, but they seem so big. And so it's like what you're doing with people. What's one small step that you can take? And so I've been actually writing my to-do list upside down lately. I've been writing at the bottom the goal that I want to have, and then I go up above that. And what's the step above that? What's the step above that gets me to the goal, so to make sure I'm making those decisions to get there. As far as like personal goals, like for my business, there's some key like workflows that I need to, and things, standard basically standards that I need to establish for my business that I agree with, that I have to hold myself up to those standards to come back to. Anyway, I'll hand it back to you.
Something, because you have Richard Liverman on this call, who is fantastic at helping people break it down, see what the vision is, and take it down into small steps. I'm gonna talk about this part following you. Mentioning the social contract, the expectation is powerful, and it really matters. Going back to what Sean was talking about at the top of the show, which is by saying no even to particular people, or setting the expectation of what not to expect from me, what I will not achieve, is very powerful to be able to reinforce the yes. And I absolutely love, when I was a restaurant manager, to anybody who's absolutely come and worked for me or with me, even leaving in meetings, I would say, this is what I need from you. This is what matters. This is why. And if you spend time with them on day one and you find out what matters to somebody and what matters to me, you can share and get there together. But quickly, when I was as a COO, even to my VPs and executives, before they left the meeting, I would say every meeting, and they know it, they would just answer, do you understand what we expect, what needs to happen before next week? I do. Do you have everything that you need? Do you need from me to get there? I do. Do you think you can get there? Are you comfortable with it? Or I'd blend those into two questions. Yes. And it would be really, so then they would say like yes or no based on what I have. No, because I still need this from you. Okay. And so that's really powerful, what you mentioned. And that is very much on topic of the social contract or any sort of contract of saying, this is, did I lay out, but that's on us to say, did we lay out what's the expectation? Do you have what you need? Can you get there? And I know you've been holding off on the rest stop. Thank you very much. Troy, we're going to jump back into another familiar face, and then we're going to jump back to some new faces. Troy Hooper, great to see you. Very exciting openings coming up in Irvine.
It's the calm before the storm. It's about to get crazy around here. We got 3 restaurants opening in less than 4 weeks. 4 restaurants in 11 weeks. So it's getting crazy. Hey, real quick housekeeping as the self-appointed co-producer live on the show with you. Adam, Bill, Travis, Charlie, and Sean Walchef. If you take that little pad or your mouse and you highlight, there's actually another little box there. You can put the name of your company, your website, your favorite cartoon character, and who you want to win the Super Bowl in there. But you can put something there. So this lives on forever on YouTube in long form. So there may be clips from it if you say something really incredibly awesome. So make sure people can find you. Hildy makes it very easy. She just makes her name bubble her website. So super easy to find her. But anyway, Jason, thanks for the call out. Troy Huber, CEO of Hot Palate America, co-CEO of Pepper Lunch Restaurants worldwide, 533 restaurants in 17 countries. And like I said, opening in Irvine Spectrum Mall here in California, Irvine, Orange County, California. Officially grand opening the 7th of February. But if you're around a few days early, let me know. There's some parties and meals and free food to be had all the way through the 9th at least. So please come on down to Orange County. What do I believe in to start off, by the way, Jason, is there's no reason to be lonely. There's another way of saying community. It's another way of saying accountability. It's another way of saying network and don't do it alone. And your success is relying on other people. But you don't have to be lonely. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and I remember a lot of lonely times. And still, when you're overwhelmed and there's nobody there, and you just got to sit down and do the work, it's a lonely thing to drudge through the list, right? And so I really like your accountability, your quick hit accountability that you've put together. Yeah, I'm not great at time blocking. I try. I'm not great at all the atomic habits. I try. We're humans. Look, we get tired, we get hungry, we get fed up, we get frustrated, we get overwhelmed, we get anxious, we get fearful. A lot of things get in the way. I think Sean can share.
Your accountability is a Wi-Fi router and repeater.
What can I share? You have me on a cliffhanger. What can I share?
I think he's still talking. If you can hear us, Troy.
Troy.
Starting to talk for Troy is never a problem. Stop. No.
Is he landing the plane? Is he coming back?
No, he dropped such good nuggets. I'm so sorry we're not hearing. Are you there, Troy? There you are,
yeah,
Troy.
How about
Troy,
now?
You cut out when you said I could share something. What am I sharing?
You could share Rob Dyrdek's time blocking. It's insane, right? It's like down
insane.
to the minute or
insane. Yeah.
Insane.
Rob Dyrdek has the most sophisticated model for how he lives his life, for sure.
Yeah. But like one tool is not the same for everybody, right? And I think trying things. I'll tell everybody the one thing that will absolutely work for you, and it's not hard to do. And now I've seen these little clocks, these little flip clocks you can get on TikTok. But the Pomodoro effect, which the Japanese get credit for, but it's actually from Spain, is you work for 20 or 30 minutes hard on one thing. Focus on one thing. There it is, 20 or 30 minutes. or whatever you want, whatever makes sense for you. You know, Jason said 90 minutes. Look, if I'm working on a spreadsheet, a model, a financial model, a budget, 90 minutes is 10 minutes, right? It just goes by. But get up, go for a walk, go outside, stand in the sunshine for 3 minutes, get a fresh glass of water. Don't ignore your body. Don't ignore your mental health. Just get up and break the cycle. And I think if you do that, that's the easiest start to setting a structure for yourself. So that's my share for the day.
I think it's great. Create the time block. And so for everybody from now till next week is, what did you do to track what your time was in something that you're working on? And did you turn off your notifications or anything that you didn't need that wasn't important? Did you not open up? And did you do the deep work during that time? Thanks, Troy. We're going to keep it moving across the pond over to Scott Turner, your first stop over there for me. Great to see you. Take it away.
Thank you. And
real quick shout out. Thank you for the British takeover. And that goes out to the rest of the community. We want you guys to host the show. If you have a topic idea, I can't always host. It's always better when we have more hosts, but this is a community show, and I appreciate Scott, Adam, and Richard. You guys did phenomenal. And thank you.
And go, Troy.
Jordan Silverman as well. He filled in on Wednesday last week. So thank you, Jordan.
Thank you, Jordan.
I just wanted to say the British takeover. I was driving.
Troy, we're losing you, man.
We're losing you, man. So
he's
here's
trying to say it was the best one ever. I think that's what he was saying. He's not frozen on mine.
It's not frozen on yours.
Troy. Thank you.
He's
God save the king, Troy. God save the king.
So all the great stories. Let me ask you, just follow up from my point of last week. So what was my point? Stones or Beatles?
Stones.
Kinks. There it is. Take it away, Scott.
Anyway, I'd love to try Troy's tip, but his bit where he got me was when we have to go out and stand in the sunshine, and that is virtually impossible in London. So, I'm going to have to find a sunbed or something. Hi, my name is Scott. I'm the founder of Odin Hospitality. I worked in hotels for 15 years and decided that food and beverage was my passion. I went to go work in independent restaurants, and now with Odin Hospitality, we're taking that restaurateur mindset back to hotels to create bold, fun, and exciting venues for them. That's me. I guess my accountability, I think, the time blocking. I do the time blocking and I time block quite a bit. I also look at the days when the part of the day when I'm most effective. So if I have to do like deep focus work, I know getting straight into it 9 a.m. and doing the focus work before I get into calls and things like that is when I do my best. And I also don't do calls generally until the afternoon. So just from a time blocking perspective, I try and keep everything there so I don't lose the focus. Working for a Saudi investment business where my desk was opposite the CEO's office, every time he had a brain fart, I really realized how much defocus can kill momentum. So really focus on that. I think my accountability one is I traveled to Nairobi on Saturday to do a project kickoff, come back, and then within 1 week we're going away on holiday. We've got lots of projects going on. I think when I'm traveling, I'm probably the most unhealthy person ever. So I think one of the ones from a personal perspective is I need to get out and do some walks and keep things going because I'm going there. We're going to be eating a lot of food and drink and seeing places. So we need to make sure that beer belly doesn't come back too much. I still fit in my clothes. And then from a work perspective, I think what's really important over the next 10 days for me is I need to delegate and download all the tasks so that I can be as present as possible when we're away on holiday. We're going to Bali in Australia. So it's a pretty epic trip. So the last thing I want to be doing is sitting on a MacBook and looking at hotel restaurants and what we can do with them. So yeah, that's probably my two main ones.
All right. Break them down into singles. I know we could talk for an hour on how you could break those down, but you know how to do this, and I'm here for follow-up. I want to keep moving. I appreciate your contributions, and I'm excited to have everyone here. Housekeeping, we usually go to about 11:15. Sometimes we push to 11:30 at most. So we're going to keep it rolling because I love hearing this. Staying across the pond, Richard Liverman.
Good evening. Great topic. Absolutely fantastic topic. Really, really enjoying this. I'm Richard, and I believe in a mantra of don't be boring. And for me, it's about helping people with direction and strengthening them. And it's interesting because there's a statement in mindfulness, and you'll probably recognize it from every aeroplane you've ever been on, which is put the oxygen mask on yourself before you help other people. And I think what's so interesting about this topic and hearing everybody else speak is they're actually putting the oxygen mask on themselves. And that's something that, for my own accountability, because I was thinking about this before I came in, it's both professionally and outside of work. How can I put that oxygen mask on myself? And I spend all of my time looking after other people, both in and out of work. It's now time to look out for myself to make sure that I can be the best version for my guests, clients, family, friends, everybody. And I was thinking about this, this whole accountability club, and something that I've talked about a lot is scaffolding. How do you build scaffolding so you can be the best version of yourself? And that's why I think this topic's really, really interesting, because what you're doing with this, Jason, is building scaffolding or allowing other people to build scaffolding for themselves, which is even more powerful. So for myself, the things I'm thinking about very much is my own credibility and looking after myself. So that will be looking after my big picture side of things. So what can I do for my own personal development? That's going out, seeing crazy things. But it's also going back to university, going to night school, going to TED Talks, going to like, how can I build myself, make myself strong? As simple as I had a long journey the other day. Scott recommended a book, started listening to it, brilliant. So I'm really putting that kind of scaffolding up for myself, but I'm also working with my, I've got somebody that works for me and she's keeping me accountable to these things. I think it's really important. When you check in with somebody, you're more likely to do it. And I think for me, having that person, I see them 4 times a week, and every morning at 9 a.m. we check in. And that's to keep me building my scaffolding. It's really, really important. And then from a personal perspective, how can I look after myself, both physically and mentally? And it is just taking myself out, doing some things, pushing myself. So Friday, unfortunately, I'm not going to be here because I'm taking my son to see a talk, which I'm really looking forward to. And then next week, I'm off to see a very sweary British comedian called Jimmy Carr. I'll send you a link, Jason. I think you'll like him. He's extremely offensive and very British. I mean, what's not to like? In many ways, he's very similar to Scott and Adam. Great topic.
And I've stopped swearing since Howard Solomon called me out a long time ago. I love this. Let me ask you a question. Is can you combine what is the tour that you're going on with your son on Friday, if you're comfortable sharing it?
Yeah. Well, he's a very famous journalist called John Simpson in the UK, and we're going to see him. He's at a place called Cambridge, not the one in Massachusetts, like another one in the UK, old and full of nice buildings. So we're going to go and see this guy called John Simpson do a talk. But I want it to be just me and my son. And I think somebody else was saying earlier, how can you be present? And I think it's a really good opportunity, both to, spend some time with my son and also to grow my own brain. It's like a winner.
Well, that's what I'm getting at is it's in growing your personal, because you talked about going to night school, you talked about going to museum, you talked about, and you could talk about it and think about it and mind map it out. And that's going to be, Sean put me up for mind mapping on another one, if we haven't already, which is fun. But I like this because it overlaps. You're growing and you're spending that time. So
no, absolutely. And I was very lucky on Sunday. Scott and I went to see a TEDx in London. And it was incredible. I think, Scott, you go along with that. It was absolutely incredible, and just left that feeling so inspired. And it's one of those ones where, I'm always talking to other people about how they grow themselves. So I'm keeping myself accountable for my own growth, my own development, seeing my own coach, my own supervisor, my own mentor. And I think there's that little bit where, if you're giving the medicine, you need to be taking it as well. So, and I think that investment into myself, I'm taking really, really seriously this year.
I think it's great because to become a good therapist, you first need to go to therapy.
Absolutely.
as Sean put in the post on Friday's topics, going to be never again in business. So we'll see you for that, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard. And we're going to move on over to Eric Farrell, thewordkitchen.com. I feel like there's a little bit of a critical mass going on with you in a fantastic way where you're popping up. You're sharing your services. People are sharing your services and it's bubbling. So you're showing up and it's happening. Talk to us.
Thanks. Yeah. Eric Farrell. I run thewordkitchen.com, copywriter for the hospitality industry. Bill, I'm going to hunt you down, man. We need to talk. I really want to pick your brain and I need some help. This whole accountability conversation is wildly uncomfortable. I thought about jumping off of this several times. Why am I here? This is a bad idea. Being a professionally unorganized person for the last 38 years, let's say, coming out of the corporate world where I was forced into someone else's organizational methods and processes and stuff, that I'm building my own thing now, which is what I always wanted to do, but it's requiring me to craft a whole new set of skills that I thought were in there to begin with. And they are. I'm just kind of excavating it. More like how Michelangelo viewed a block of marble. He didn't carve it into a statue. He viewed it as there's a man in there. I have to get him out. And that's kind of what I'm doing. So my personal accountability right now, I got to get a whole lot of health, physical and mental issues in order. I've got 3 kids. I've got a 4th on the way. Life is absolutely frantic all the time. And there is no slowing down. And, when you lead a family, especially with my mindset that I teach the kids is everywhere you go, every room you're in, the most important person in the world is everyone but you. And that can go good or bad. I tend to kind of set myself on fire to keep everybody else warm. I'm doing too much. And I'm not taking care of myself the right way because that feels selfish. Sometimes that's circumstantial, that's time-based. Sometimes you don't have time for workouts because you got to go cook dinner because the kids are starving and they're going to bite your knees off if you don't. You got to do that. And that's fine. But I'm trying to find a balance. And the time blocking thing is a great idea that I need to implement, but I've been very bad at so far. And this is tough for me because my wife is the other way around. My wife is very type A, organized, everything in its place, never been late for anything in her life until she got married. I have no idea what happened there. So professionally, how do I carry this stuff over into building the business better? Probably 10,000 ways. Jason, I'm going to send you an email and we should probably have another conversation. It's been too long. So I had a point and I lost it. Sorry. We'll move on.
Let me ask you one question. Thank you for sharing that. And, I've sat quietly at that conversation we're not going to unpack it now, but everyone else, the most important person in the room is everyone else but you. And I wondered if there was a point of showing up for ourselves, putting on our oxygen mask again. Let's unpack that. That could be a great conversation. Yeah. Here's my quick takeaway for you. Is there one thing you can do? Maybe 10 minutes. I do 10 minutes of Tai Chi in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. Before anyone else is up in the house. Is there something like that you can do before the kids or anybody is asking of your time that will help drive? And it's not every day. Let's say 1 day a week, 2 days a week, 3 days a week. What's one thing? Is there something you can do that's 5-10 minutes? Do you have 10 minutes that you can carve out for that?
Some days, yes.
Do you have 5?
Yeah. I mean, usually it's often an issue of what time I get up and what time the kids get up. I've got a 3-year-old, so sometimes she's up before everybody else and she's kicking everybody awake. So it just depends.
So that's what we're going to talk about. Is we're going to try to find the 5 minutes of whether it's deep breathing or something before 8 a.m. rolls around, before hunger, before this. This is a follow-up. Send me that email. And I think think you're going to find some power in that. And I say that as somebody that doesn't have kids,
Yeah.
I think so. Adam, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Sounds like you're on the move, Adam Foreman. So you might be moving into somewhere. So I want to give you the opportunity to talk.
Thanks. I just can you hear me? My signal's not great.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm in the car park. I literally sort of left the office. So Richard Liverman just sent me a text message saying it looks like I'm burglars. So I took my hat off so I don't look like a burglar. So but yeah, thank you. This is an awesome awesome stream. This one's great, the way really nice to listen to everyone's story and challenges here as well. For me, it's really interesting to hear about carving time out for yourself, because when you run a business, it's difficult, right? It's a challenging piece of allocating that time for yourself as well as family. So my wife is out with my youngest this weekend at a dance competition, so I actually get time this weekend for my eldest, and I'm taking her for her first ever curry to an Indian restaurant. She's never had a curry ever at all. My wife hates curry, and I'm excited to spend some time with my eldest child this weekend and have some good. Hold on. There we go.
Will
I'm
she
back.
give you the honest answer?
Yeah. She's super honest. So she's either going to hate it or she's going to love it. I hope she's going to love it, to be honest with you. So my wife doesn't like any form of curry, Indian food. It just doesn't hit her. So this is going to be a really nice one. So just give her I'm going to order everything and get it through. So that's going to be fun. Nice one-on-one time. My youngest has ADHD and exophoria, which is a vision issue. So a little bit more time is used with her. So there are some challenges. My wife works with me. She's my co-director, but she also used to be a teacher. So she's helping my youngest at school to do schoolwork, as well as learning for her GCSEs. So, and as well as running the business with me. So it's a lot. But she's going to have lots of fun this weekend with my youngest at the dance competition, which is great. And I'm going to have that. Work-wise, work-life balance doesn't exist at the moment. It's really interesting because we're scaling the captive Wi-Fi platform, which is great. We've just signed a 2 Michelin-star restaurant in New York called Caviar Russi, which is amazing. And they're rolling out stuff. So as you can imagine, time zones are really challenging when you have clients in the US and in Europe and in Dubai and Australia. So I'm waiting for that point where I can sort of a little bit more outsource support to another area that can handle the time. So we're about to hopefully take on a big group, and then I can actually sort of like relinquish that. Will give me more time. So the challenges I'm having is we have an IT company, we have the Wi-Fi thing, we're building software. It feels like there's no time, but January's kicked in, back to the gym just on the weekends, do the self-help, trying to, put my AirPods in, zone out, and try to be a bit healthy. I've eaten way too much food in December for Christmas. So for me, self-care is that. I'm just trying to zone out if I can. But having the platform that we're building, that the service is only 4 years old and we're growing. So, I feel like I have to be super present all the time. I have a click to call on the website. It's 45 seconds, right? You click the button and you can call me in 45 seconds anywhere in the freaking world. It was obviously I'm not open at 2 a.m, but it does say that. So yeah, I mean, it's difficult. But I benefit because my wife is my co-director of the company. She looks after all the operations side of the company. We don't work in the same office, otherwise we'd kill each other. But we work separately. She has an ADHD coach, which is amazing for her and helping her with my kid, our youngest. And I think I probably do need to go speak to someone, because I think that's going to be the year of Adam chatting to a coach or someone to talk to, because there's that piece in the middle, right? My best mate, I do speak to quite a bit, and we chat back and forwards, but I think I need an independent side of it. Loads of friends and colleagues, and most of you guys probably do have that person. My business colleagues I work with use me as that vice. They call me for advice, for support, for ranting, and I'm happy to obviously be there for them, which is great. But I don't have, that's the other end. So I think this year is definitely a time to allocate time to find someone to, help, not help, but, someone I can talk to, someone I can have a chat with, someone that's independent of everything. I think that's my goal for this year.
I think, so there's a lot, right, that you've given, and I appreciate you sharing. My feedback and follow-up is to say, so here's a perfect example of how I view things to get things done in the accountability club and in our world. And this is great, Adam. So this is how I would respond, right? I would say, if you wrote, I'm going to find an accountability buddy, right? Somebody to check in with. That's mine. I would say that's a home run hit. Now you need to break that down into a single. And I would say, because it needs to be something that you have full control over, not because we have to wait for the world sometimes. So the answer to me would be, I'm going to write down a series of bullet points, what this person needs to entail. So by next week, I'm just going to put a very, very brief little thing of what the perfect person is and that expectation. So that then would be step two. Step two now is, well, who do I think has that? And I'm going to reach out to 3 of those people. And you have something to give them so they know what that means to show up for you and what that expectation is. So my accountability follow-up to you is, in the smallest form, just begin. Process 1 doesn't need to be perfect. What does, by next week, what are the 5 traits or the 5 things that this person would have, and what would they need to do to show up for you to be this person? Just get that on paper or in some digital format that you can share. That's it. That's the single. Don't even make it pretty yet. Just get it down. That's what I got for you. That's what I want you to email. That's the one I want to see if you got.
Love that, and I really appreciate that, and that's really good, really good advice. Really good advice.
And Richard,
and I will be doing that.
Thank you. And Richard nodded his head, which means he's my spring sounding board to see that it's kind of moving. Thanks for everyone for hanging out. We're going to go a little bit past because we got Charlie, Ian, and Hildy still that I absolutely want to hear what they have to say. Charlie, I know your camera's off, but you might be with us. Let us know if you can come off mute and let us know what your goal is. We're going to move on over to Hildy.com. That's a great name.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I keep forgetting, and that's one of the things I want to do in the accountability thing is figure out how I stop forgetting things. And sometimes I can't stop and write it down. Sean, where did he go? He's gone.
He's listening. He's omni-listening.
He's not. He's gone. He's gone. All right. So remind me that I have to tell Sean something that I keep forgetting. And it's about his t-shirt business. Ah, there he is. Okay. So here is something that none of you would know, but you should know. If someone like Sean orders his 1 or 2 or even 24 t-shirts and hats from a local screen printer, they're grateful. But what the screen printer wants is to be introduced to me, because I do hundreds, if not thousands at a time. And I need screen printers all over the country because my clients don't want to pay if they're in California for my screen printer in Pennsylvania.
Done.
So
I'll make the intro.
It's not
Nick's,
to help me. It's to help him.
100%. Thank you for saying
you
that.
wouldn't think about that.
I love it.
We're always looking for decorators who know what they're doing. And everything I've seen you
did you see the live video? Is that how
I
you?
did.
That's why we go live. Connect the dots.
That's why.
How we connect the dots.
And then you think about it. The company I work for, I'm one of 400 of Hildy's that sell swag for a living. So
I will make that
connection. Great gift you would be giving this guy you've known for so long.
Yep.
And you wouldn't have thought about that. So back
go live. Thank you, Hildy.
You're welcome.
I got to run, but thank you. That was amazing. I'm happy to jump back on. Jason, you rock.
All right. So now regarding the accountability, Seriously, I do have a problem with memory. I reconnected with someone I haven't seen in over 20 years yesterday, and she's like, "You introduced me to John Smith and Jill and this," and I'm like, "I have no idea who those people are." So I want to try and figure out a way to have a better memory, and I don't know what that is, but that's what I would like to do in your accountability group. I sell swag for a living. I want to make this quick because we are going over, and I know we don't like to do that. So back to you, Jason.
Uh, so I would take this back to you and say two things to approach. One is what am I doing one thing each week to help strengthen memory, right? And whether that's taking vitamin D3, whether that's reading the book, whether that's taking the walk, there are things that we do. A puzzle, maybe do one Sudoku a week. So you would do that. And then the other thing I would say, talk to people because you're not alone. And what is the system that they use that will help with this? And I'm sure there's something with AI that you can start talking and putting things in. And then who is that again? And a photo. And it starts to build and collect that. So continue to work on Sudoku. To me, starting to learn music again in the sense of mathematically to help with that. Don't hold me accountable to it. I'm not there yet. But what's one tool? So the thing is, talk to 3 people and ask them what they do, or search for 1 or 2 tools that you like and see how they start to work with you. Pen, writing it down. Maybe after you meet somebody, you write it down, and that puts it. Maybe it is AI. So that's how you would do it. That's the single. Thank you for sharing.
Jason, just a quick one for Hildy. I put it in the chat. LinkedIn do 3 or 4 games. So if you go into LinkedIn, they do Queens. They do another one called Pinpoint, which I play every day. Another one called Tango. They'll take you 5 minutes to play, but they're really good for getting your brain learning patterns and memorizing it. Since I've been playing, I've just found it to be really helpful. And it's that easy. It's on LinkedIn, which we're all on every day.
I love it. That's great. Thank you. Good call with that. Ian, thanks for hanging out, listening. Love what you've been bringing to the community. Talk to us.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Ian. I'm a partner in an office for EHS Recruiting Company. We help restaurants and hospitality organizations find top talent across the country. So really been enjoying the community and what everyone has to offer. I can relate to just about everybody's points they've made so far today. You know, as a business owner, it's easy to get caught up working 10 to 12 hours a day and not making time for certain things, and time just flies by, and before you know it, it's dark outside and you're like, wait, I was going to go for a walk, or I was going to do whatever. So I've been really working on work-life integration and the concept of that for me, because things like being active I've found also benefit me at work. And some of the things like Richard mentioned about the games, I wake up and do Pinpoint, and I do Wordle on the New York Times every morning to kind of get my brain moving a little bit. So those are things that have helped me, you know, kind of with my processing. Then for Hildy, I started using this Claude app that has a voice to text feature. So I downloaded the app, and if when I'm working out or taking a walk or whatever, I like to speak like ideas I have into the app and just save them as notes. So then I have it to go back to later. And then it also has AI features, so you can turn things into a LinkedIn post even, or something like that. So I've been like really trying to find ways of using time that I'm blocking to an extent to try to apply it to all aspects of my life. So that's something like time blocking doesn't always work for me, but I do want to get to the gym, and I hold myself accountable to go to the gym. And then when I find that I'm working out, that's when my creative juices flow. And then I'm trying to find these tools to tie that creativity from those kind of mundane movements back into being productive once I get back into work mode. So it's kind of like this weird, I don't know how to draw it up. It's definitely not time blocking, but it's time integration of like how to make life efficient and how to like get the most out of each action that I'm doing throughout the day.
That's great. Sounds like you've got your pace. You're good at holding yourself accountable to that. Is there any one thing that you would love to add to it that by this time next week?
Personally, it's more on a personal side. So my partner in life and business is my partner Lauren, and we don't make enough time outside of work sometimes to actually just be disconnected from work since we work together uh, in all ways. So being more intentional about setting that time aside this week. Luckily, I did make the time for that last night. It was just our 5-year anniversary on Monday. So we went out to dinner last night, which was amazing. And we had some time to just talk about things other than work for a little while, which was awesome. So I need to hold myself accountable to disconnecting more often.
I think that's great, and you did it. And so I think to think about that next one that you're together that isn't work conversation or work related. Appreciate you landing with the plane for us in this. Hildy, Charlie, jump off if you're with us and want to add. Otherwise, just even seeing your name here makes me feel stronger and warmer. Eric, Bill, Chris, Travis.
Yeah.
Welcome. You're doing it, man. Herman.
Appreciate it.
Who was that jumping in? Ian, Richard, was that somebody else jumping in real quick?
I wanted to say some quick thing if there's a time.
Yeah,
totally. Just quick, because this really kind of changed my mind about or helped me with a lot of things. There is the concept of give and take, and everybody thinks that that's a concept that it's very friendly and kind of right in the middle and very neutral, give and take. But if you think about it, it's exactly the opposite. When you're giving, give, and don't think about nothing that you need to take, and give all you can, so that when you're taking, you can feel good about what you need to take because you've given. And
it's great.
It fluctuates between the periods. There's not a period that you're giving and taking. That's And so I just wanted to leave that, because I think in this conversation of everybody trying to make time for themselves, feel accountable, this and that, maybe this helps with that.
It's interesting, and I love that and that brings the analogy of we look at the scales of justice that we're always trying to keep balance. But I remembered this great Japanese restaurant growing up, and there was a bamboo pipe, and the way it worked is it would sit like this, and water would fill it up, and then to the point where then it would fill up something, and the weight would turn, and then it would flush all the water down to where it needed to go. And so it was this idea of receive and give, and receive and give, and I love that. Dean, thanks for contributing on the sidelines. Claudia, Laura, I know you've been there listening and being a part of it. And I got to give a shout out to Laura, who really helped me set up the first accountability club. To all of you, Jason at accountabilityclub.co, write me what you're working on. Accountabilityclub.co, join us, get in the newsletter. We're building this because at the end of the day, we are all a little fucked up. Yep, there's your swear word, Sean. And it's about disarming. Well, that one's on purpose, there, Chris, where we're building that brand. But it's and so the way that we move through it is we disarm the expectations and we hit singles. And so with that, see you Friday. Yes, Chris.
If I could, this topic on accountability, time management hits home. I thought it was so well done. Thanks so much. It also made me think of something that I thought I would just want to show you just for a little humor. It was a gift I was given long, long ago. It's an old sweatshirt. Don't know if you've ever seen this, but I thought you'd get a little humor out of it.
What is it? Procrastination. What does it say? Where you're
working tomorrow for a better today.
That's awesome. That's great. Thank you. No, thanks for right. It's like I had learned. We'll get it done. No, we won't. Someone needs to do it and have a responsibility by when. Look, thanks for all of the feedback, right? I was hesitant to launch the Accountability Club, and everyone sharing and knowing that it resonates means a lot. So join us, be a part of it. See you Friday, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard, where we're going to talk about, I guess, what do you say? Never ever in business. With that, everyone, have a fantastic back half of the week. See you later. Hit singles. Talk to you.